Hi everyone, Matthew Donovan here. Just want to do a really quick video. I started today, I spent about 90 minutes studying Hebrew. I decided, I've been doing German for a while, but I'm going to start with Hebrew. So the first thing I decided to do was I printed off the alphabet. Let me see, not sure how easy that is to see here, but I printed off the alphabet, and the one thing I noticed is this column here, the one in the second column over, has the printed version of all the letters. But unfortunately, and then there's the names and some other, not quite sure what these are. The names, I think how they're printed and then how they are in script. But what I noticed is on Link, which is what I was mainly using for my beginner text for the material, the characters weren't showing up the same way they are on this script. So that's what you can see here. I've added in on the first column. I've just tried to write down as best I can the way I read the script. That way when I find a character or a letter that I don't know, I can look it up. And I also have some notes here. For example, there are two letters. One is called Vav and the other one is called Nun, I think. Yeah, Vav and Nun. And they're both just vertical lines, at least when I read them. Apparently Nun has a little hook at the bottom, but I'm not seeing that. So the only way I have to differentiate them is the Nun goes a little bit longer. It actually goes below the line. So think, for example, a P or a Q, where that stick goes below the line of the letters, whereas a Vav, for example, is like an L. At first I was thinking, oh, is it like an I versus an L? I'm going to need to figure out how high they go. That was my first thought, but I wasn't quite sure where the rest of the letters sat. For example, if the line or the stick goes above this character, does that automatically make it a Vav? Does it make it a Nun? But I played with them a little bit more, put them into text, and it turns out the Nun, as I said, goes below the line. The Vav doesn't. There are also some other characters. There's a Yod, for example, which just looks like an apostrophe. I think it's slightly longer than apostrophe. But then there's also, from my understanding, there are apostrophes. So there are basically four different vertical letters of some sort that basically look like vertical sticks, and all the difference is how long they are and where they sit on the line. But as I said, I spent 90 minutes today just trying to go over the beginner material, and I wasn't focused at all on actually learning what the words meant. All I was focused on was trying to figure out if I can get my head around this pronunciation. There was one word, for example, it's pronounced Beshesh. What does it mean? It means at 6 o'clock. That one I happen to remember, but it's I should have written these down. I suppose I'm trying to figure out whether I should just write them down now, but I'll just find the letters here. So it's the B, I believe is a bet, and I think it's a bet and then two shins. Bet, shin, shin. That makes sense to me. I'm just looking here. The other thing I have on this list, to some extent, is it says sort of what the letters are like. So that aleph at the top is silent. Turns out it's not silent. It's more of an open sound, so it changes the pronunciation of the next letter. The next one here, the bet, I'm having some difficulties figuring out. Sometimes it's a B and sometimes it's a V, but to some extent I've been going through and doing those. And to some extent, it's just a matter of I'll try to put the letters together, but what I've really been finding to be helpful is Forvo.com. Forvo.com, you can type in words. Native speakers or people from anywhere, actually, all around the world, have the opportunity to explain what the word means. Sorry, not to explain what the word means, just to say the word the way they would, and then it's recorded and uploaded to the website. So I'm able to type in these words. On Link, I have the whole story. I'm listening to the mini stories. So the first mini story is about Mike. Mike is a cook. He wakes up at 6 o'clock. He has breakfast. He goes to work, etc. And I can listen to the whole text. It's 5 minutes long, and I can listen to the whole text. But right now, I'm not able to figure out where the one word starts and the next word stops. So that's where I've been going to Forvo. I'll copy the text from the word. I go to Forvo, and I figure out how is that pronounced. And then I'm trying my best to just break it down into the different letters. One thing I know about Hebrew is that it doesn't have vowels. But, as I said, I probably only looked at 20 words at this point. I had my list, And my first order of business was just writing down, as I said here on the outermost corner, the list of how I interpret the words, how they're written down on the script on the website. So I was just looking for words that had those letters that I hadn't seen yet. Wasn't focused a lot on understanding. I wasn't even focused a ton on pronunciation. I would find a new word and try and experiment and guess how it was pronounced. And I was making some progress. The one word I'll give as an example, as I said, was Beshesh. My first thought was it something along the lines of Beshush, because I knew it had a B sound and then two either S sounds or SH sounds. The shin can make either of those two, so I was thinking Beshush, Bes. So I wasn't quite sure, but Beshesh is close. There was another word, I don't remember how it was spelled here, but I put the three letters together and I basically got kfh, and it was actually supposed to be kafa, which was coffee. So I was slightly close with kfh. Kafa. I need to just figure out how the letters fit together to make these words, and I think that's a matter of when I start hearing them, when I start hearing words, I'll get this understanding, this intuition of does this sound or this grouping of sounds potentially make sense to be a word. But I just want to do a quick video here. As I said, I spent about 90 minutes going through all the letters, and definitely I've got a long way to go. There are 22 letters that I need to learn. At this point, maybe 4 or 5 I could probably tell you. The yud, that's like the apostrophe, that one is a Y sound. There's another one that I found, to me it looks kind of like a house almost, that has an H sound. There's one that sort of goes below the line that makes a K sound. Like, there are a few letters that at this point I could probably see and figure out what sound they make, but for the most part I have no idea. That'll be what I'll be working on going forward, is really getting an intuition for the letters themselves, and I think that's how this is going to go. Is the first thing to figure out is all those letters, the sounds they make. Then, right now I have this sheet and I can keep referencing it. Slowly, I'll be moving away from referencing to the sheet. What I want to be able to do is get to a level where I can just look at a word and figure out maybe 80% of the time how it's pronounced, or at least pronounce it to an 80% level. Then when I'm at that stage, that's when I think I can start actually learning the words. But as I said, just want to do a quick video today, right now, just to talk about Hebrew. I decided to switch to Hebrew, and I just wanted to document the first steps of learning the language with a new script, entirely new. I was literally reading letter by letter. I had this guide. I'd go to Forvo, and I would just try and break it apart word by word. Cafe, okay, we have a k, we have a f, and then we have a h sound. So I was just breaking it apart letter by letter. It'll be interesting to see how I learn the letters and how I memorize the sounds and things like that. But this is the update, day 1. Lots of progress, lots of ways to go. But 90 minutes, it was quite fun. And at this point, with my list, I could probably struggle through and pronounce some words in Hebrew, which is great progress. Yesterday, I'd see a word in Hebrew. I would have no idea how to say it. So this is, I think, Steve Kaufmann talks about the upward hockey stick. We're making progress very fast. I'm a lot further than where I was yesterday, but there's still a huge way to go. So I'll keep you updated. Probably not daily videos, but anytime I have something noteworthy, I'll make a video. But that's all for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.